Welcome to the show. It's New Thought Talk, and I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center, located in beautiful Fresno, California, the heart of California's Central Valley. And it's great. This is the beginning of the new year, and I'm excited about the new year. I hope you are. Of course, we're several days into the year now, and you know, how many New Year's resolutions have you made, broken, and remade again? And doesn't that seem like it's the way it always is at the beginning of each year? But you know, New Year's resolutions, for the most part, at least statistically, don't seem to fan out for most people. They fall by the wayside. Well, I want to talk to you today about resolutions that we have generally more control over, resolutions that make a difference in our day-to-day life. And it just how we start each day, and I've talked about this before. But to begin the show, I want to go back to something Ernest Holmes wrote in the Science of Mind book, and it's in one of the earliest chapters of the introduction, and it's about this thing called prayer, because prayer is so important in our day-to-day life in creating the day that we want to experience. And it's going to be the topic of part of our show today. So let me get started with it. Ernest Holmes says, a prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of the one praying along a definite line of meditation. That is, for a specific purpose. Let me go back and read this again. A prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of one praying. In other words, the point he's trying to make here is that prayer is not just words. You know, we often have prayers written on a piece of paper, and we have prayers that, you know, are in books and so on, but that's not the actual prayer. The prayer takes place within our mind, within your mind, within the mind of the one praying, and it is a movement within the mind. And this becomes critical when we understand that, you know, in New Thought, we do believe that there is a power and a presence for good, and it does answer prayer. And it answers prayer to the extent that the one praying has an understanding and a belief in the outcome of the prayer. So let me go back and read this again. He says, prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of one praying, along a definite line of meditation that is for a specific purpose. We have to come to a point within ourselves, and it's a point that a lot of people have little experience getting there, but for those that take the time to put in the practice to get to this point that I'm going to talk about, it becomes a very powerful tool in the creation of their day-to-day life. Now, I've often talked about this thing that we call meditation and affirmations and affirmative prayer. These are spiritual tools that we use each and every day. That there's nothing magic about it, there's nothing miraculous about it, but it's something that is available to each and every one of us. You know, we often get tied up. I love this idea. We get tied up with the idea of the magician, and they put up this thing on the stage, and they have someone come up, and it's either an individual or something, and they do some presto changeo, and all of a sudden that thing disappears. And you know, the thing is, that's not really miraculous. Our take with the miraculous is that it happens instantly. But you know, each and every individual can make something disappear. Maybe not in the instant, maybe not in... Okay, we're going to pick this up. We had a little technical difficulty. I don't know exactly where we got separated, so I'm going to start again. This idea that magicians can make something disappear in an instant, and it seems miraculous. And that is our fascination with the magic, if you will. But the thing is, each and every one of us can basically do the same thing. We may have to do it step by step. It may be a little plotting, but we can make things move from one place to another. And if it wasn't for the fact that the magician does it instantaneously, the effect is the same way. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because there is something within each and every one of us that we call our imagination that is such a powerful component of our consciousness and our mind. And for most of us, it's a tool that lays very dormant. And oftentimes growing up, children who have just a wonderful and incredible creative imagination are told time and time again to stop daydreaming, to stop imagining, pay attention, listen to the teacher, do whatever, things that they've been told to do. And as a result, as we become adults, we tend to take this wonderful tool and just kind of repress it, and it doesn't get used. And like anything else in our experience and our expression of life, if we don't use it continuously, we tend to lose the ability to use it effectively, and that's what happens with the imagination. But people that do use their imagination, that practice using their imagination, we know these people because they're very creative individuals. Sometimes they're artists, sometimes they're musicians, but there's another type of individual that uses the imagination, and this is the individual that has tied in to an understanding that through the use of their imagination, that they can literally create their day-to-day life experience. And this is where this idea of affirmative prayer comes in. Affirmative prayer is a method in New Thought, in Science of Mind, that we teach of creating a prayer that within the prayer itself, the answer to the prayer is already there. What a concept. But when we know that, when we include that in our beingness, we see it expressed in our day-to-day life. That's what New Thought teaches, and I'm not going to get into it here too much other than to tell you about it. It's available to you when you avail yourself of it. And you can go back and watch some of these shows. We have them archived up on YouTube, or you can go to Science of Mind or New Thought Church, or you can pick up books and you can read and study about it. But it is a powerful tool, this thing we call the imagination. And as we start our year, we make our New Year's resolutions. And for some people, that becomes a success story. For other people, it's just another year in, year out routine that we give lip service to, we laugh about, but we never see anything happen. In both of those instances, the imagination is playing a very powerful role. For the person that makes the New Year's resolutions, that sees them within themselves, using their imagination, that sees it expressed in the future as if it's already happening now, those people oftentimes will see that play out more times than not in their life expression. For those people that see their New Year's resolution as just another, here we go, I'm going to make this list of things that I'm never going to complete anyway, but it's fun to do, they're also going to see that play out because that's where their beliefs lie. And beliefs are one of the things that I want to talk about today. I'm going to wait till we get to the next segment to really address this idea of beliefs. But understand that the beliefs that we hold in ourselves today, we didn't hold at one time. We've learned every belief that we have, and we've taken some beliefs and we've tossed them out and we've replaced them with new beliefs. But beliefs are not things that we hold in mind as like a definition for our experience. A belief is something we hold in mind as a concept, oftentimes as an image. And as we understand that and how that plays out and the connection of those images and beliefs to imagination, we can see that the imagination plays a powerful role, not only in the things that we do believe in, but the things that we want to create. In other words, the things that we want to see and believe in, and seeing our life expressed by our own hands, our own means. And so we're going to take our first break here. When we come back, I'm going to talk about beliefs. I'm going to talk about how they interplay with our imagination and how you have the power to change them. So I'll see you when you come back.
Brittany's Park Avenue Pet Grooming. Top quality grooming for dogs of all sizes. 12 years of combined experience with dog shows and pet grooming. Specializing in breed trims and hand scissoring. Brittany's Park Avenue Pet Grooming is open Tuesdays through Saturdays and is located at 5730 North 1st Street, Suite number 115. Visit parkavenuefresno.com or call 559-709-7279. Need a dentist? Call Dr. David Wright at 559-222-6213 or visit bitemedental.com.
The Fifth Quarter, a restaurant and sports bar in Visalia. 24 of your favorite beers on tap and a full bar. Entertainment for all. Pool tables, karaoke, a DJ, and even a drag show. Watch the game with us and get some great food. Burgers, sushi, and much more. Don't wait for overtime. Head into the Fifth Quarter for a great time today.
Christy Majors is your local real estate connection. With a solid, hardworking team, traditional listings, short sales, probate listings, and foreclosures are treated in a personal and caring way and close in a timely fashion. Since 2009, Team Majors has closed more than $75 million worth of homes all over California. Reliable and trustworthy, Christy and her team will go the extra mile for every client, whether selling or buying a home. So give Team Majors a call at 559-464-5606 or visit teammajors.com. Don't go through the stress and hassle of cleaning your house yourself. Let a professional handle the job. Call Priscilla Hill Professional Cleaning Services for no-rush cleaning. Priscilla is known for her thorough, high-quality cleaning work. Priscilla offers affordable, routine cleaning starting at only $30 a week. Deep cleaning is also available. Call or text so Priscilla can customize a cleaning plan to meet your needs.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back. New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in Fresno, California. And we were talking about, before we went to the break, this idea of beliefs, the relationship of beliefs to our imagination, and the concept of creating our day-to-day life expression. Yeah, just every time I think about it, it's a very powerful concept. You know, there is, we believe, and I believe that there is a presence and a power, and we say for good in the universe, and we call this source or creative intelligence, universal intelligence. We call it God, but it is all that is. It's infinite, and we are an expression of that. And as a result of being that expression, what that means is that we're God expressed as us, and we are also consciousness, and God is consciousness. And so we have, at some level, within us, the ability to connect with that power, connect with that God within ourselves, and direct it as a creative force and source in our life. And that's really what we're talking about. But again, it goes to beliefs. I want to share something with you. It was written by a fellow by the name of Christian Larson, the early part of the 20th century, and it goes to this concept of beliefs. And he says, what we believed yesterday, we frequently discard today, and what we believe today, we were quite liable to discard tomorrow, possibly with very few exceptions. Nevertheless, while beliefs of today remain, we are so thoroughly convinced that they are true, and practically nothing can change our minds. Think about that. In fact, our present beliefs sometimes have such a powerful hold on our minds that we have absolutely no desire to think differently from what we do. And what is more, those very beliefs, as a rule, refuse to be examined. It is certainly mental bondage with a vengeance when the mind dare not be examined and dare not examine the credentials of its own beliefs, and is so completely under the control of its own convictions that it is unable to question their genuineness or authority. It's kind of wordy, but what he's saying is we hold beliefs that we, one, are not aware of that we hold, and two, when we attempt to change those beliefs, oftentimes they are the underlying source of resistance within ourselves, and we may or may not even be aware of it. I don't know if you've ever tried to make changes in your daily habits, diet or saving money or learning or whatever, and you start off and you're really enthused and excited, and for the first couple of days, maybe week or two, you're gung-ho. Time goes on, becomes a little more difficult, and the next thing you know, you've just totally gotten away from it. Kind of like New Year's resolutions. And what happens, and what has happened, is we have defined ourselves by our beliefs. In other words, what you are today is what you believe that you are. So, understanding that if you believe today something that you didn't believe in the past, and you're not happy with the life expression that you're experiencing today, and that life expression is an expression of your beliefs, why not go to the source of all that is? Why not go to that source within you, that power for good within you, tap into it, and put it to use in creating a different life expression? Wow, that's kind of an alien concept for a lot of people. People get tied up with the understanding that religion and God is something that we keep in church on Sunday, and okay, we say our prayers, but that's about it during the week. If you change a belief concept and envision that God is everywhere present all the time, that there's no place, no space where this divine presence is not, that it expresses as you, that you have the ability to connect with it, and through your own consciousness, direct it through a law of cause and effect, that it responds to our thinking. When we think in a way that is creative and supportive of it, it will support and be creative in our life. That's what we talk about in New Thought Religious Science, that God is ever present, ever available, and that God can change our life experience. But it comes to the understanding that we have to change the beliefs about who we are. And we do this through the use of our imagination. Because if we tried to just use our willpower, just like when we're working with a diet or various other things, habitual problems that we want to change, that we seem to run up against a wall, that at some point in time we get disillusioned, we walk away from it, we lose our confidence. Willpower won't carry us through, but imagination will. If a little tool for someone that is looking to change their weight experience, there's two things that you can begin to do that will have a drastic influence. They're very simple, and all you have to do is do them. And that is, one, put a picture of yourself up, even if you have to create this, of the physical shape that you want to be. I mean, you have to be realistic. There's certain body things that aren't necessarily going to be available to each of us because we come in our own mold, but there is a size that is available to us. And if we're overweight and we want to be slender, then we can find a picture that looks of a body that looks pretty much like ours at a slender size, and we can put we cut out a photograph of our face or head, put it on top of it, and put it where we can look at it all the time, where we can actually see ourselves at the weight that we want to be. When you're eating, you want to use your imagination in a different way. You want to look at the food that you're eating and imagine, in your imagination, what it's doing to the body that you have right now. And if it's things that are negative, that are not going to support the size, the weight that you want to be, then begin to see that not as this piece of cake or ice cream or whatever, but see it as fat globules, something that really kind of turns you on the inside. And imagine what it would be like as you ate this stuff instead of eating this ice cream or cake. And you'd be surprised. Those two things can create a very powerful dynamic in your life, in your life expression. And all they did, very simply, is they utilized this imagination that we have, this power. As a matter of fact, there was a man named Neville who used to teach these principles years ago, and his understanding of the imagination was, he said very simply that the imagination really is God within us. It's the God power within us. That when we go to the imagination, when we use the imagination, and in that use of the imagination, when we can embody the ideal that we want to see in our life as if it already is, if we can see it in our imagination, feel it in our imagination, experience the feelings of it, the sensation of it, it's just a matter of time before it begins to express itself in our physical life. And he offered many different examples of how that worked in his life and the lives of people he would teach. It's very simple. He's addressing the idea that there's this thing we call the imagination, and he's addressing the idea that we can change our beliefs. Those of you that have watched the Wayne Dyer programs in the past, when he used to do his PBS presentations, one of my more favorite presentations of his was based on a book he wrote that was called "When You Believe It, You Will See It." It really is that simple. People have known, teachers have known throughout the ages that when you believe it, you will see it. But we in our life's expression, we get it backwards. We feel, because life has told us, that we have to see it in order to believe it. Give me proof. Give me something I can hold. And that's not the way the spiritual reality of the universe works. These are principles, and when you put these principles into practice, they work, and they work consistently. Our problem is we grew up in a society that tells us just the opposite, and we bought into it, and we believe it, and because we believe it, that's what we see. So we're starting off our new year. We're setting up resolutions, and we're going to commit to making those resolutions a reality in our life. Well, let's start right now by writing out those resolutions, figuring out a way that we can visualize those, plant the seeds of them in our imagination, and then take what we planted and grow it. Say that's a little bit difficult. You've tried that in the past, it didn't work. Well, how about if you just do it for today? How about if you just plant that seed for today? Maybe take one of your resolutions, write it down. Now then, take some time. Find a quiet place. Start a meditative practice. And do this every day. And in that meditation, as you work on slow, relaxed breathing, and when thoughts come in mind, the mind static and stuff, just take a moment and allow yourself to refocus and let it simply slip away and bring your consciousness to this one particular thing, that thing that you want to experience in your life, and begin to own it. Not just own it as something here, but own it as a reality in your life. And just continuously do that, day in, day out. Matter of fact, one of the best times to do it, actually the two best times to do it, is in the morning when you first get up, and the evening when you go to bed at night. And you work at it. And when you first start, maybe it's a fuzzy feeling you get. But as you continue it, and the thing is, you have to commit to continuing it. You have to be persistent. But as you commit and you are persistent, you'll see that your ability to use the imagination to create the reality within yourself becomes more clarified, it becomes stronger, it becomes more powerful, and you are in that space, if you will. You begin to see and experience it. It's a powerful tool. And it's a tool that I can tell you works because we have historically, we have anecdotally, and we have even through research seen this story play out again and again and again in people's lives. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting to? Is your life today what you want to experience? I pretty much doubt that, because for most of us, our lives are not what we experience. But you want to say, well, I've got all this, and you've got your laundry list of things that are working against you. That's not going to change, don't you? And therefore, it's not going to change. When you begin to suspend the belief that it's not going to change and begin to look at believing that change can be possible, and like I say, take one item and begin to work on it. There is a divine energy, a source We call this God. God is not a guy, doesn't live up in some big gold chair somewhere with a list of naughty and nice, good or bad or whatever. God is a presence that is available to us, and it's a consciousness. And as we go to it in consciousness, there's a response. It's a law of cause and effect. So go back now, what I read at the beginning of the show when I said, a prayer is a movement of thought within the mind of the one praying along a definite line of meditation, that is, for a specific purpose. In the very simplistic sentence, Ernest Holmes really clarifies what I've been explaining to you in the show today. It is a movement of thought along a definite line for a very specific purpose. And it's done within the imagination. And you have that imagination. That is the God gift within you, if you will, the spiritual gift within you. And understanding that you are a spiritual being first. Having a physical expression that we call life. But you are not a physical being that is only in this lifetime here and then gone. You are an infinite spiritual being. And as such, that your connections, your ties to God, to Source, they're not suspended while you're here. You're not thrown into this mix and then left on your own. But you are thrown into the mix, if you will, and left to discover the truth of who you are. And so, through this concept, you can begin to put this principle, this one principle, into practice in your life. I challenge you to do this, because if you do this and you are persistent, you will see it play out in your life. You will see it begin to express. And as you see this begin to express, you begin to realize the truth of what it is that I'm saying. If you realize the truth of what it is that I'm saying, you're also beginning to realize the truth of who you are. So you see, we are not separate from God. We are all children of God, God the Father, God expressing as us. And as the children, we have an inheritance and a gift that God has given us. And this is how it plays out in our life. This may sound a little different to traditional Christian and non-Christian spiritual people, but it is a reality that can be experienced. And we find it in various spiritual teachings. Anyway, we'll pick this up when we come back. We're going to take our next commercial break. I hope you give some thought to what I've been saying. See you when we get back.
Here at Central Valley Talk, we've chosen Select Business Systems to provide for our copy, print, and scanning needs. We used to think it was cheaper to purchase our own toner and maintain our own office equipment. But now, with the expertise and experience of Select Business Systems, our office workflow is running at peak performance, saving our company time and money. They've truly set us up with our new Sharp multifunction copier, streamlining our office with the press of a button. To find out how you can improve your office technology, call Select Business Systems at 446-0123 or visit their website at selectsharp.com.
This segment was brought to you by Pro Travel Network Fresno. For all your vacationing planning, call Jennifer Rogers at 559-317-6735.
Prescription narcotic drugs can be addictive and dangerous to your health. But there is another way. Dr. Daniel Brubaker's mission is to help patients, caregivers, and volunteers make informed decisions regarding the medicinal benefits they may expect to achieve from cannabis and whether or not cannabis is right for them. Cannabis can provide safe, natural pain relief for anorexia, arthritis, asthma, back problems, chronic pain, diabetic neuropathy, fibromyalgia, glaucoma, gout, herniated discs, HIV/AIDS, inflammation, insomnia, joint pain, Tourette's syndrome, and more. Call Musculoskeletal Medical Associates today at 559-248-0116 and find out if medicinal cannabis is right for you.
For information on author Steve Hammond's Rise of the Penguin saga, visit www.riseofthepenguins.net.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back. We've been talking about beliefs and the imagination. Been talking about this power within us, and I want to take us a little bit further along in the Science of Mind book from where we were reading about prayer, and I want to read this to you. And he says, Ernest Holmes says, a limitless power at man's disposal. Marvelous as the concept may be, it is true, nonetheless, that man has at his disposal, in what he calls his subjective mind, a power that seems to be limitless. This is because he is one with the whole on the subjective side of life. There is a power available to us when we awaken to the fact that it's available to us. And I say we awaken to the fact because it's tied to beliefs, and because we have a tendency to believe that life is just what it is, that there's nothing more, we're not aware that it's available to us. But we can begin to become aware. Just like as I'll go back to my magician reference earlier in the show. We can look at the magician and we marvel at the miraculousness of the instant disappearance of the object that the magician has waved his wand at or thrown a scarf over, whatever. We suspend our belief in that moment. But when we think about it, we realize that there's really a process, sleight of hand, distraction of attention, whatever that takes place, in order for us to see that as it happens. But it happens for us nonetheless in our minds. And oftentimes, particularly when we're young, we have a tendency to believe that it really instantaneously disappeared. But as we grow up, we begin to see that and understand that doesn't happen, and we change our beliefs, and we try to spend our time when we watch something like this figuring out how it happened. As a matter of fact, there's shows that can be found all over the internet that explain how the various so-called magical tricks are actually performed so that the audience sees one thing when in fact something else is happening. Take that concept and apply it to how we express our life. Imagine, if you will, that the life experience that you're experiencing is that sleight of hand, that there's really an underlying truth that's more miraculous than what the magician can bring to us on the stage, but that we don't see it because we don't believe it. It's the beginning of the new year. We're looking at resolutions. Isn't it time? Isn't it time in your life to decide to make a change for something better? Start small. Practice. But like I say, put it to the test and see if it doesn't play out. Your life is that important. When you make yourself as important to yourself as you truly are, and you begin to work on creating your life, you'd be surprised what will happen. Now here's the deal. You don't have to suspend any beliefs that you have spiritually to put these principles into practice. I'm not asking someone or trying to explain that someone needs to convert from one spiritual philosophy to another. It's not the point. Point is that there are tools. You don't have to give up a personal belief to shift from driving a car to riding a motorcycle. You just have to learn the skills in riding the motorcycle. You're still in the driver's seat. In the same way in your spiritual life, you are still in the driver's seat, always. Hold to your faith, hold to your belief. That's not a question here. But take time every day and begin to use this gift that God gave you that we call the imagination, and begin to create. Like a Lego set, or if you can remember back to the days of the Erector set and Tinker Toys, but whatever it is that you can relate to as building up something, look at your imagination that way. Create something new in it. Create something new in it. Hold to that vision, if you will, within, that inner vision of the desired result. And as you hold to that inner vision of the desired result, see if you can't begin to feel the experience of it being so. Because when you tie feeling to the visualization, you begin to create the reality of the experience. And in truth, that's really what prayer is about when Ernest Holmes is talking about prayer. He's talking about a movement in mind towards a definite purpose. And that's what we're doing. In mind is where our imagination lives. In our imagination is where our creation lives. And so we utilize that. So you're a businessman, or you're a housewife, or you're a woman that's an attorney, or whatever. It makes no difference where you're at in life. You're a writer, you're a poet, you're a musician. It doesn't make any difference. You don't get to be what it is that you have chosen to be in life by just deciding to do it and then not following through. You get to be a musician by daily practicing. You get to be a writer or whatever else by daily plying your skills. Even if you just want to express in whatever medium you want, as a clerk in a store. Be the best clerk that you can be. And, oftentimes store clerks that take on that type of consciousness ultimately end up with a store of their own. It's not a matter of settling. Don't settle for where you're at. Always strive to create more, because your purpose in life is to express the divine as you. And when you're not expressing yourself, there's a feeling of less thanness. And we've all experienced it on some level. Isn't there more to life? But there's some people that don't ask that question and we know those people. They're always moving forward. They're always active. They're always pressing onward and onward and onward. And you see these incredible things that unfold in their lives, and you go, well, how can that happen for them? What happened? Where are they at? What are they doing? And the answer is very simple, is they saw it within, they experienced it within, they kept going back to the well, so to speak. They practiced, and life began to express for them. And it's the same for you. If you're a salesman, begin to vision your sales figures going up. And however you do that, some people, they keep graphs. Some people, it's just statistics. Some people, it's just imaging the sales presentation or whatever. But do it continuously. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't let those beliefs, you remember those beliefs we talked about earlier in the show, the beliefs that we don't even know that we have, that will work to hold us in the position where we're at in life. Those are the beliefs that tell us that we're not good enough, or we're less than, or we can never do it, on and on and on, and oftentimes we're not even aware that we have them, but they're there. And they're as real as the sun coming up in the morning. If you are not moving forward in your life, it's because you have held a belief that prohibits you from moving forward. And it really is just that simple. But that belief owns you. You don't own that belief. It owns you. Isn't it time to take back ownership of your life? Isn't it time for you to do the things that allow you to experience and express and have the benefit of living a life of fulfilling adventure, whether that adventure be in consciousness or in mind or in heart or actual experience as a physical adventure? It's available to you. If you're not experiencing it, it's because you believe that you can't, and that belief owns you. So we've talked about today those beliefs, and having the New Year's as a backdrop behind this is really, it's a great metaphor for what we do in life, because most people, like at New Year's, you make your resolution, and within a week or two, it's gone by the wayside, because you never believed that you would achieve it in the first place. So let's stop trying to look at something and go, we can't have that. Let's stop looking at things going, I can never achieve that. Let's stop letting our beliefs own us, and let's start working at it. Now, just like when we were learning to walk, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall. But you know, the one thing that the lesson that we can take away from a child that's learning to walk, they never give up. They fall, even if they get hurt. They get back up, they go at it again. They fall, they get back up, they go back at it again. Persistence, persistence, persistence. You know, one of the things that separates a successful person and a person that's not successful is very simple. A successful person does what an unsuccessful person won't do. And most of the time it comes to one word or two words: being persistent. Committed and being persistent. Doing it. Going for it. You have that. When you feel like you're overpowered, that's just the belief within you that's expressing itself through your feelings. Go to your imagination. Instead of experiencing being overpowered in a way that you can't work through it, use your imagination. Go to that place, because you're going to practice every day through meditation. Go to that place and see yourself breaking through, moving beyond, going over, going around, but not settling for less than this, not settling for not being able to experience what you want to experience. Being persistent, going forward, moving forward. You can do that. And that is the gift that God has given to each of us. But it's a gift that's utilized by very few people. But in New Thought centers around the country, around the world, whether it be a Unity, a Universal Foundation for Better Living, whether it be Science of Mind, whether it be Centers for Spiritual Living, it makes no difference, whether independent New Thought centers and churches. They teach this to people each and every day. People come because they've learned that life is more than what they're experiencing, but they don't know how to experience that more. And they've heard about this powerful tool called New Thought. So it's about time for our third and final break. We'll see you when we come back. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, and we'll wrap the show up for this week. See you when we come back.
Brittany's Park Avenue Pet Grooming. Top quality grooming for dogs of all sizes. 12 years of combined experience with dog shows and pet grooming. Specializing in breed trims and hand scissoring. Brittany's Park Avenue Pet Grooming is open Tuesdays through Saturdays and is located at 5730 North 1st Street, Suite number 115. Visit parkavenuefresno.com or call 559-709-7279. The 11th Annual Jurassic Rock Jam. Come see many of the legendary godfathers of Fresno's 60s, 70s, and 80s rock scene together again on stage in an epic jam benefiting Donovan's disease. Saturday, January 28th at 7 p.m. at the Fulton 55. Admission is $10 at the door. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. There will also be a 50-50 raffle with all proceeds benefiting Donovan's disease. See you there.
Need raisins? Call National Raisin Company at 559-834-5981 or online at nationalraisin.com.
Clovis Bicycle is located at Bullard, Minnewawa in Clovis near Dollar General, featuring kids' bikes, cruisers, road or mountain bikes, and now featuring a selection of recumbent bikes. Check them out at clovisbicycle.com or call 325-2453.
Give your home and yard a facelift with Olivas Landscaping. Olivas Landscaping can make a tired yard look fresh again. Whether you need one-time or recurring service, repair, or a whole new design, contact Olivas Landscaping. Call Patrick Olivas at 273-0142.
Realtor Letty Pinjatori is a broker associate with Keller Williams, and she is also a voiceover artist. Contact Letty at 559-281-4568.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host, the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in wonderful Fresno, the heart of the Central Valley of California. I've been talking about starting our new year off, recognizing that beliefs oftentimes control us. Oftentimes we're not aware of it. The idea and the concept of using our imagination as a tool in creating a better life for ourselves and really, in fact, changing our beliefs. Talking about the fact that you can change your beliefs. Talking about also that most of us, one way or another, are often owned by certain beliefs. And oftentimes we're not even aware that those beliefs hold such a powerful control over our day-to-day, oftentimes minute-to-minute life experience. Let's make 2017 a year that we choose to express ourselves as free individuals. When I say free, I'm not talking about free in regard to anything outside of ourselves. I'm talking about being truly free within ourselves, because that is where freedom begins, and that's where true freedom exists. You know, we believe that God created us to experience life freely. But we can't experience life freely if God had just given us all the good. It'd be no different than being almost like an automaton, a machine, where the good is there and there's no opportunity to learn and to grow and to truly express. So our purpose here is to express the divine presence that is within us. Our purpose is to discover the truth of ourselves, and in so doing, to experience the freedom that comes with that truth. You know, it's been said that when you know the truth will set you free. And this is how and where it plays out in our day-to-day life experience. We are potential free beings. Most of us live in bondage at some level, and oftentimes that bondage is controlled by the beliefs that we hold. So it's nothing outside of ourselves that has to change. It's not conditions beyond our own beingness that needs to be changed for us to experience good, for us to experience true happiness, and ultimately for us to experience true love in our lives. And that's what it's really all about, because God is love, and God is happiness and harmony and peace. If God is love, happiness, harmony, peace, beauty, and all the other things that we use to describe God, if we're not experiencing that, it's not God's fault. It's because we haven't taken the time to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. There's been many people through the ages that have brought the truths to the world, and sometimes they've been listened to, and sometimes they've been shunned aside. But now, in this day and this time, you have available to you the opportunity to garner the tools that you can use to create your own life. Daily meditation, daily prayer practice, study. These are all things that no one can keep from you when you choose to put them into practice in your life. And that's exciting. You know, we look at what's going on in the world today, and I think, man, There's just so much change that needs to take place. But the change that needs to take place, my friends, is not change out there. It's change in here. When we come together as beings within ourselves, we begin to create that reality of peace. There's a vibratory energy, if you will, that permeates the atmosphere around us and around us, around the people that we associate with, and it goes beyond and beyond that. Take time and do the things we spoke about today. Also take time to experience interaction with like-minded people, to find people that also have a belief in being empowered in their day-to-day life expression. And you'll be amazed at what happens as you experience that. And that is my hope for you as you start out the year. Now, the tools that are available to you, you have all sorts of, like I mentioned earlier, you have various New Thought churches and centers that you can go to. You can find those off the internet. Findacenter.com is one of the ways to locate them. But you can Google New Thought. There's other ways that you can find these various centers. They're out there, and they're happy to answer your questions, possibly tell you how you can participate in their programs. If they're not directly, where you can't get to them easily, maybe they can help you out with, online courses or things like that. There is online books. There's a NewThoughtLibrary.com where there's many different of the early New Thought authors. Their texts are to be found there, and I highly recommend that you utilize that in your daily life experience if you are not, if you don't have other things available to you. Or you may find books there, and then you can go to Amazon or one of the other online booksellers, and you can get hard copies. For myself, I happen to prefer having hard copies available because I like to outline, underline, circle, write notes in the margins or whatever. I use those tools in my daily spiritual studies. And that's another thing to consider, is incorporating daily spiritual studies. You're important enough to take that time for yourself. Regardless of your personal spiritual philosophy and belief, prayer time every day is something that is encouraged by every philosophy that I'm aware of. So take that time. Find that within you that's already there and waiting to be found. And you can do that. It's amazing. As you begin to do it, you experience a realization that makes it even more a more powerful experience, if you will. Also, you can look me up on the internet. I do answer emails. If you choose to email me, you can go to my center's webpage. It is MadeiraSAC.com, and there's a link there where you can get a hold of me, or you can reach me at MadeiraSAC@gmail.com. It's available to you. Like I say, I answer emails, answer questions, and I have a Facebook page, Steve Walling. You can see me there. We have Spiritual Awareness Center Facebook page. You can find out things there. We got some good stuff coming up for this year. I'm going to, I think the next time I come together to meet with you for the show, I've got some new and exciting things that we'll be exploring at that time. So look forward to seeing you then. And I can't believe we are already in 2017. But this is your time. Take this time. Start your year. Create your year. And if you have issues, get a hold of me, and I will answer them. And I want to see each and every one of us have the year that God meant for us to have. It's a powerful, powerful concept, and it's a concept that only you can do for you. And I think that's pretty much going to wrap me up for this week, my friends. We'll see you when we come back. As you go through the week, remember that the light of God surrounds you, the love of God enfolds you, and the power of God protects you. The presence of God surrounds you, because truly, wherever you're at, God is there. All is well. Make it a great week, and I'll see you when you come back. Blessings. Bye.
Since 1998, Cabinetry Design Center has been in the cabinet business and is sustained by 3 decades of unparalleled experience in the industry. We're your one-stop shop for exceptional cabinet designs. Custom cabinets complement the way your home looks and functions. We can make your dream cabinets an aesthetic and functional reality. Cabinetry Design Center will guide you in every step of the process. We make sure that you get what you want and love the finished product. Your cabinets are in good hands with us. Call Cabinetry Design Center, a family-owned business, at 559-277-3500.
Elite Custom Painting is here for you. We can help you achieve that custom look with premium paints and custom texture with quality workmanship at reasonable prices. Discounts for veterans and senior citizens. Prompt, reliable, professional, Elite Custom Painting delivers superior customer service. Specializing in residential interior and exterior painting, cabinet repainting, wallpaper removal, and retexturing. Call today for your free estimate at 559-970-8154.
Shaver Lake Cabin Rentals is a boutique-style rental company. Call today to book your dream vacation or to list your cabin with us. We guarantee a pleasant stay that will beckon you back again and again. Call 559-841-2280 or visit rentshaver.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com